At what point will people actually see Texas A&M as a national title contender? Now, I'm not saying Texas A&M should be a national title contender in October. I'm not going to do that, especially knowing who they have to face in Florida this weekend. That's an easy loss that could potentially happen. They could go to Arkansas with Bobby Petrino. That could be a loss. Based on what we've seen with Texas A&M in years past, sure, it hasn't been Micah Elko-centric, but the identity of this team, they have to go against the grain of what history has dictated. That could be a loss. At LSU, they've not won since joining in the SEC at Baton Rouge. They get a bye week. They go to Missouri. Missouri's a talented program. We'll talk about them in Alabama. I'm higher on Missouri than most people. Then they have South Carolina coming into town, Samford, and then at Texas. Those are a lot of games that could be potential losses. Texas A&M 5-0 for the first time in 2016. But what I want to really talk about is not just the history, because that's a layup. Anybody that talks in front of a microphone that talks about Texas A&M, we can sit here and say they're going to collapse in November. They're going to go 8-4. Boom, I get a bunch of views, and it's simple. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how close are they to actual national championship contention, because at number 5, I'm not hearing a lot of buzz and a lot of noise, because I think, A, people are scared to say it, and I think, B, the history is so weighted in the room that you really can't feel confident to say national championship. You could say, oh, they're a college football playoff contender, but you really don't see them as a potential national championship contender. And it's not for a lack of talent. It's never been for a lack of talent for Texas A&M. And so if we were to get a little granular, what are the aspects that are truly stopping them from national championship contention? Well, number one, it's the penalties. They're in the 110s, even maybe 120s in terms of penalties. That type of stuff will lose you a playoff game. It will outright lose you a playoff game if you're in the 120s in terms of penalties. That will, A, stop explosive plays because it happened against Mississippi State, and B, in a critical moment, in a close game, you really want to be the team that puts it in the hands of an SEC referee? Listen, I'm an SEC guy. I think that it's the best conference. That's a conversation for another day. But I think we can all agree, any referee, if you put the game into their hands, that's the easiest way to get onto Twitter and crash out. Where you have the SEC officiating saying, yeah, we got the call wrong. And that's why you lost. You never want to put it in their hands. That's why I don't really blame referees. I blame the team that let it become that close of a decision. They should still take responsibility for their bad calls. I would also say B, because penalties, that's volatile. That's something that could get better through the course of the season, or could be a recurring thing that you have to overcome and you continuously shoot yourself in the foot. That could be a limiting factor to a national championship. I would also say Marcel Reed's deep passing. There is a difference between Marcel Reed when he's comfortable, his feet are set, and he's not hesitating. That's my biggest concern with him, at least in this Mississippi State game and this Auburn game, compared to what we saw against Notre Dame. He will sit in the pocket, happy feet, like it's almost Monsters Inc. If you know the scene I'm talking about with Wazowski and happy feet, he is making so much unnecessary movement in the pocket. And when you make unnecessary movement, you begin to hesitate, you're off platform, you're not balanced. And a lot of times when he is finally letting it rip, he's off balance and he I guess the best way to say it, over pursues. He puts too much onto it because he's not missing underneath. He's not missing low. He's missing high. And a lot of times he's missing too far, to a point where even a guy like KC and Craver with that speed, they don't even get an opportunity at the ball. These guys are open. And I talked about it on my channel, From Snap to Whistle Football, if you want to go check it out. I just did a full breakdown on the Colin Klein system and why it works so well, because they sit in 12 personnel. If you've never heard of 12 personnel, it's just one running back and 2 tight ends. They'll have at least 7 guys blocking or threat to block. And then they'll have the 2 speedsters on the outside, which spread out the defense to a level that you have to pick your poison. Do you want to deal with Le'Veon Moss and Reuben Owens for, 6-7 yards every single time? Or do you want to focus on Mario Craver? And do you want to focus on KC and not have the explosives, especially when you get to 1 high? Those guys are going to be able to get downfield. And this A&M offense is explosive. it's still not even maximizing the potential because of the double clutching, the happy feet that Marcel Reed has. I think Peter Burns said it on Twitter. He said, what's stopping Texas A&M from being an elite tier 1 program at this point is Marcel Reed. Now, that's not to say he's bad, because he's not. He's a good quarterback, but he has the potential to be a great quarterback. And that potential and that step is the difference between a good college football playoff team that could probably host and win a game and then someone that's going to go win a national championship. Is that consistency. Now, if you're a Texas A&M fan listening to this and you're typing away and you're upset and you're saying, oh, what is this guy talking about? Marcel's good. What I'm more saying is this is also a good thing because it will come with time. It's not something that you need an entire offseason to get comfortable with. Sure, by maybe next year, if he stays around because he's eligible for the NFL draft, but I highly doubt he's going to leave, he's going to get more comfortable as more games are being played. Let's not forget, this is his first full year starting, first full offseason going into the year knowing I'm Marcel Reed, I'm going to be the starting quarterback at Texas A&M, and this is my second year in the offense while having the first year starting and actually playing games. Because when you have happy feet, when you hesitate, a lot of it is you're not trusting what you're seeing and you're not comfortable. And that comfort comes from playing actual games. And I think he's going to get more comfortable as the season progresses. But I do feel these two main factors, because the defense has been lights out. You need that to be consistent. The offense, that identity is truly there. I talked about it with Texas. I've talked about with Penn State. They don't know what their offensive identity is. And so when things get difficult, they sputter out, they flame out because they don't know what to go back to and rely on. Texas A&M, they know exactly what to go back to. They know exactly where to go. They know exactly when to take shots. Colin Klein is in his bag. They have a veteran offensive line. The secondary is probably the most improved unit on the entire team. Torian York, he may be 5'10". He might be the best NFL player on this team. It's Marcel Reed's development that potentially could launch them into national championship contention. And it's what's making me hesitate, and probably a ton of other people, if you were to really dig into why they feel the way that they do without saying, oh, they're just going to go 8-4. Oh, history will go against them. That's not real reasons to me, especially knowing that Mike Elko is only in his second year. Let's talk about actual football reasons of why they're not potential national championship contender, but they're ranked at number 5. And who knows, maybe they go and lose to Florida. Florida's a damn good team. We'll talk about that on Thursday. But I think Texas A&M is so close. And the good thing that you can hope on to is maybe it's something that can happen this season. At the worst case, you hope that you get to a college football playoff. And maybe by next year, when Craver comes back, Casey's going to the NFL draft. York is probably going to the NFL draft. We do not want to get too far ahead of ourselves, honestly. But maybe next year he gets a little bit more comfortable, because I think that's going to be the limiting factor outside of the penalties.